Oh, well, hello there. Hi, I'm Reginald Wentworth. Thank you for watching A Southern Gentleman Reads Amazon Reviews, whatever that is.
In the pine, where the sun never shines, there's a grave that's shaded with the pine.
Well, hello. Our next review comes from Mike Armis. Another review of these sugar-free gummy bears. Mike wrote his review on January 9th, 2014. Before a company goes public, the highest level executives embark on a multi-city tour with their investment bankers to drum up support for the upcoming IPO. This trip is called a roadshow, and since the group will typically visit dozens of cities on a tight schedule, a private jet is the preferred means of transportation. During a roadshow, it's not unusual to visit 2 or 3 cities in a single day. So work starts at the crack of dawn. That doesn't mean the group goes to bed early, though. Every night, the bankers treat their clients to a wild night, complete with complimentary gummy bears and coffee. No matter how hard the group parties the night before, the private jet will lift them off to their next destination in the very early morning. Just for a minute, pretend you're an investment banker traveling with some very important clients on one of these road shows. Now imagine that you spent the previous night dropping Molly way beyond your limit, only to be startled out of bed by a piercing 6:30 a.m. wake-up call. In an attempt to get your head and body feeling remotely human again, you scarf down some more warm gummy bears and at least 2 glasses of coffee at the hotel's breakfast buffet before jumping on the shuttle to a private airport. Within a few minutes of arriving at the airport, your entire group is seated on the plane, and it begins to taxi down the runway. At this point, you might feel a bit of relief as the morning's blur subsides. All you have to do is sit back and relax for the 1-hour flight to the next city. There's just one problem. In your rush to get out of the hotel and down to breakfast and onto the plane, you forgot to do one very crucial thing. Go to the bathroom. And I'm not talking about peeing. You have a stomach full of last night's multicolored death bears. Coffee churning around your lower intestine and at 30,000 feet. But that's not the worst part. You realize true horror sets in when you realize you're not in a spacious 20-person G5 with couches and beds and lazy boys. You're on this day you are traveling on a 6-person puddle jumper, sitting shoulder to shoulder with your clients and coworkers. But wait, somehow the story gets even worse. Just over halfway through the flight, all the coffee in my stomach feels like it's percolating its way down in my lower intestine. I hunker down and try to focus on other things. What feels like an hour, but probably isn't more than 20 minutes, passes. We enter what turns out to be pretty violent turbulence. With each pounce, I have to fight my body, trying not to poop my pants. 30 minutes to landing, maybe 45, I try to tell myself, each jostling a gamble I can't afford to lose. I signal to the flight attendant and she heads towards me. "Excuse me, where is the bathroom, because I don't see a door?" I ask while still devoting considerable energy to fighting off what starts to feel like someone shook a seltzer bottle and shoved it up my butt. She looks at me bemused and says, "Well, we don't really have one per se," she continues. "Technically, we have one, but it's really just for emergencies. Don't worry, we're landing shortly anyway." "I'm pretty sure this qualifies as an emergency," I manage to mutter through my grimace. I can see the fear in her face as she points nervously to the back seat. The turbulence outside is matched only by the cyclone that is ravaging down my bowels. She points to the back of the plane and says, "There, the toilet is there. For a brief instant, relief passes over my face. She continues, "If you pull away the leather cushion from the seat, it's under there. There's a small privacy screen that pulls up around it, but that's it." At this point, I am committed. She had just lit the dynamite and the mine shaft was set to blow. I turn to look where she is pointing, and I get the urge to cry. I do cry, but my face is so tightly clenched it makes no difference. The toilet seat is occupied by the CFO, our freaking client, our freaking female freaking client. Up to this point, nobody was observed my struggle or my exchange with the flight attendant. I'm so sorry, that's all I can say as I limp towards her like Quasimodo impersonating a penguin. I begin my explanation. Of course, as soon as my competitors see me talking to the CFO, they all perk up to find out what the hell I'm doing. Given my jovial nature and fun-loving attitude, thus far on the roadshow, almost everybody thinks I'm joking. She, however, knows right away that I am anything but, and jumps up, moving quickly to where I had been sitting, and now I had to remove the seat top. No easy task when you can barely stand upright, and are getting tossed around like a hood rat at a block party, and fighting against a gastrointestinal Mount Vesuvius. I managed to peel back the leather seat to find a rather luxurious-looking commode with a nice cherry or walnut frame. It had obviously never had been used. Why this moment of clarity came to me, I do not know. Perhaps it was the realization that I was going to take this toilet's virginity, with a fury and savagery that an abomination of its delicate craftsmanship and quality. I imagined some poor Italian carpenter weeping over the violently soiled remains of his once beautiful creation. The lament lasted only a second, as I went quickly back to concentrating on the tiny muscle that stood between me and molten hot lava. I reached down and pulled up the privacy screens with only seconds to spare before I erupt. It's an Alka-Seltzer bomb, nothing but air and liquid spraying out in all directions. The Jackson Pollock painting, a masterpiece. The pressure is now reversed. I feel like I'm going to have a stroke. I push so hard to end the relief, the tormented sublime relief. I'm so sorry. My apologies do nothing to drown out the heinous noises that carry on and reverberate throughout the small cabin indefinitely. It's not that bad. As if it's not bad enough, I have one more major problem. The privacy screen stops right around shoulder level. I am sitting there, a disembodied head in the back of the plane, on a bucking bronco for a toilet, all while looking my competitors and colleagues and clients directly in the eye. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain briefly comes to mind. I literally could reach out with my left hand and rest it on the shoulder of the person adjacent to me. It was virtually impossible for him or any others, by others I mean high-profile business partners and clients, to avert their eyes. They squirm and try not to look, inclined to do their best to carry on and pretend as if nothing out of the ordinary was happening. That they weren't sharing a stall with some guy dropping his intestines out, releasing smelly, sweaty shame at 100 feet per second. Quite a story, Mike. Thank you for sharing, and God bless you.
I'm an old-time round who's done gone down. This life is blank to me. For the only one I ever loved was taken away from me.